So 5 reasons you are in the gym every week and seeing no progress. What's going on, Greg? So the first one, or just like some backstory with this. So like I've been to many gyms in my tenure in the gym. I've been training for 15 years now. I've been to gyms where the average client is like 60 years old. I've been to gyms where the average client is 20 years old. And I've seen some things. One of the most frustrating things for me to see is people that will go into the gym, and I'd say most people join a gym because they want to lose body fat. Oftentimes, they go into the gym, and then of course the gold standard is, hey, work with a personal trainer. You go to the gym, okay, that's going to do the thing. And then I see people spending, let's say, $100 a session. Let's say you do 2 times a week, $200 a session. That's $10,000 a year. But I see these people coming into the gym with a trainer, with guidance, but they look the same year after year. Or people doing it on their own, but still also looking the same year after year. And I want to share with you guys the big 5 things that I see when people kind of fall into this where they're not making too much progress, but they're putting in the time. And so the first one that I'm going to be talking about, so the first thing when it comes to probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see is going to be number 1. And so 5 reasons you go to the gym every week but are making 0 progress. Number 1 is you're not tracking your workouts. You're not tracking your workouts. So I'm gonna do some cool. I can go beneath this. So with these 2, like if you want to build muscle, if your goal is build muscle, because I'm gonna be talking about mainly building muscle, losing fat, but also your boy picked up a little bit of running. And so I'm also going to speak from there too. But first, if you want to build muscle, you got to get stronger. You got to get stronger. If you want to get faster, so like not just, building muscle, making the gains. If you want to get faster, if you want to get faster, you got to get faster, but you should know your PRs, your pacing. If you want to get faster on your mile time, but you don't know what your mile time is, what are we doing here? How are you going to tell when you actually get better? So that's important. When you got to get stronger, you need to track where you're at. Like, how strong are you right now? If you go to the mall and you want to go to, let's say you want to go to Bed Bath & Beyond. So let's say you go to the mall, you want to go no, not Bed Bath & Beyond. Okay, I'll start this up. All right. So let's say you're in the mall and you want to go to Bath & Body Works. You want to pick up some candles. You want to make sure your house is smelling good. You're going to go over to the map and it says you are here. And then you know kind of where to go to get to, Bath & Body Works to get your scented candles. Same thing with fitness. If you want to get faster at your mile time, you need you are here to know, okay, I run an 8-minute mile. Let me get a 7:55. Let me get a 7:50 and pace yourself out on those. If you want to get a bigger bench press, you need to know, okay, I'm going to write down, I hit 135 for 6. Let me get 135 for 7 next week. Let me hit, 140 for 6s. So you need to know where you are to make sure that you can go somewhere from there and make sure you get those scented candles. So it's very important with these things to know, tracking. Tracking is very important. And the big thing here too is the big thing when it comes to tracking your weights and everything. Let me go back to the screen share. Is that you don't just all of a sudden hit a 50-pound PR. You're not going to be surprised by these big leaps of muscle gain or anything. So progress is slow. It's not surprising when you hit a 50-pound PR. It's not leaps of progress. It's countless little small PRs along the way. So you're not surprised when you hit 50 pounds down or a 50-pound PR because you hit a 25-pound PR. Then you bumped it up 5 pounds 3 weeks later. Then you bumped it up to 35 pounds. You don't all of a sudden show up the next day and hit a 50-pound PR. It doesn't work like that. So this is why it's important to just, win by 1 rep. You get 5s, then get 6s the next week. You get 135 on the bench, go for 140 on the bench. So these small PRs are what's going to lead you to these leaps of progress. So that's why it's important to track your workouts or track, pretty much track what you do. You're not going to hit a minute PR on a mile. You're probably going to hit a 10-second PR or a 5-second PR. Also on the same thing with like gaining 50 pounds on your bench. You don't all of a sudden, I bench 225. Now I hit 275. No, it's a lot between these kinds of situations. So that's the first one. I see a lot of people not tracking their workouts. They're like, why am I not stronger? Why am I not getting anywhere? Because you're not tracking your workouts. And there's a later point, but you may not even know if you're not seeing progress. But number 2, you don't pay your diet any mind. And let's talk about Mama Hejnas. So if you don't know the story about my mom's awesome. But she struggled with fat loss for a long period of time. So back in high school or college, my mom would go into the gym. So, they say you can't out-train a bad diet. So my mom was trying to out-train, not even a bad diet. So my mom was eating generally healthy. She wanted to lose body fat. She was going to the gym 60 minutes every day, 30 minutes of strength training, 30 minutes on the elliptical or 45 minutes on the elliptical, but she didn't lose a pound. And she did this for years. I believe like 2-3 years consistently. Go, Mom, you got that consistency going, like someone who is going, weekly to the gym, but just not seeing any progress. And so what happened to my mom is at some point she had an ankle injury. Her ankle, I don't know if she rolled it. I forgot. I think it was something with like the stairs on the deck. And she couldn't go to the gym anymore. She couldn't get to the gym. She's pretty much like, I think she's on crutches for a time. And it was going to be, months. And what happened was I talked to my mom and I was like, okay, so in the meantime, you want to lose body fat? Like, let's start tracking your nutrition. Let's count your calories. Let's get on MyFitnessPal. She started tracking her calories. And over time, she just started to see, this peanut butter I thought was healthy. There's a lot of calories there. Oh, this Italian dressing, which is delicious, but it's like, what is it? It's oil and vinegar and like half of it's oil. And if you put in a couple servings of just oil onto your salad is now the same calories of like, a little Big Mac or something. Well, a Big Mac, what is it? 600 calories. You need a lot of salad dressing, but like if you throw some Parmesan, some croutons, some bacon, some whatever on it, you can stack up those calories. But my point here, she started tracking and getting awareness of calories, and she started tracking her weights. And actually what happened is after 3 years, let's say 2-3 years, I can't remember the same amount of time, but after that time period of not seeing any progress, she got injured. She was out of the gym. She stopped training and she lost 25, 30 pounds. So with that being said, this is how important it is to track your nutrition. The majority of people going to the gym who start getting into the gym want to lose body fat. So if you go into the gym, you get a personal trainer, you're doing 60-minute sessions 4 times a week. That'd be like, $250, $500 on a weekly, but you're not doing anything outside of the gym. You're not looking at your nutrition anymore. That's why you look the same, because you're not in a calorie deficit. You're not seeing fat loss, because it doesn't matter what you do for 60 minutes. You can rock your body's world for 60 minutes. You can always come back home and eat that back. And so this is where I want to say, don't be a volleyball in the ocean. When it comes to nutrition and training, if you add training onto your plate, you start going to the gym, you start exercising consistently. If you start doing this, but you pay no attention to your nutrition, you're kind of like a volleyball in the ocean. Throw a volleyball into the ocean and you're going to see the waves just kind of take it wherever. The current just takes the volleyball wherever the current wants it to go. That's your nutrition. If you let your training dictate your nutrition, just what you feel like doing, when you burn 200, 300 calories in a workout, you're hungrier during the day. Following, you're going to eat back those deficit calories. Because you're just hungrier. So if you're a volleyball just being taken by the waves, you're going to be playing nutrition by the signs of your appetite. So you're going to eat back that deficit. And is that bad? Is it good? No. But like if you want to lose body fat, you need a calorie deficit. So track your nutrition. That's what's very important here. If you can track your nutrition, you keep that consistent, and you add in the gym, that's going to burn more calories. Now you're here, and that difference could be that deficit that you're looking for. And then you start seeing changes. Then you accomplish the thing that you're in the gym trying to do. It's some people too, they'll just go into the gym or they'll just start running. Running's cool. You go start running 3 miles a day. That's 300 calories you're going to burn. You come back, you're hungry. Oh, that was a hard workout. I should replenish. I should eat. And then you have like a post-workout snack. You have like, let's say, you have a Cliff Bar. I think they're 250, 300 calories. Okay, cool. So you had that post-workout Cliff Bar. You wanted to lose weight, so you started running. But now you have a Cliff Bar at the end of every session. You just negated that calorie burn. So if you're not looking at your overall 24 hours, your overall calorie balance, you're not gonna for sure get where you want to go. So that's a lot of times why I see people going into the gym and not seeing anything actually happen in terms of their body composition changing. And it's frustrating. So that's number 2. I guess a quick add-on to that is going to be, so what should we do, Kevin? Like, what should we do? Like, if I'm not paying my diet any mind, just track your food. Track your food. Keep it consistent. And then you're going to be able to see if it's serving you or if it's not serving you with your exercise plan. Then you can make changes. Which brings us to number 3. You don't even know if you're seeing progress. A lot of people are making zero progress because they don't even know if they're seeing progress. So they even just like, they just think like, oh, there's nothing that I see, so I can't tell that I'm actually like making any progress. And sometimes it's like, it's the data sees it first before you see it. Like, not many people can pick up when they lose like 5 pounds. Well, maybe I could for myself, but like, you know, I compete in bodybuilding and stuff. But like, you know, 5 pounds, you won't notice 2 or 3 pounds typically, because that's kind of like variation. So sometimes you just want that data to actually be able to know if you're moving in the right direction. But again, some people may not be able to pick up 5 pounds difference, or it may be like 20 pounds where they really start noticing something. And if you're not taking any data, you're not serving yourself. So on this piece, let's say you weigh in every 3 months. So this one's important. So let's say you want to lose body fat and you start this new fitness program. You're in the gym all of a sudden 4 times per week. You don't really change anything else. You maybe try eating a little bit cleaner. You're eating more peanut butter, brown rice instead of white rice. But like, you're not really doing anything else in terms of weigh-ins. You're just starting this program, and then you're going to weigh in three months. No weigh-ins. You weigh in 3 months later, you're 5 pounds up. You're surprised. Like, what happened? I tried this thing. I made a dedicated effort. Like, what's going on? And the thing here is like, what if you weighed in a week later or 2 weeks later and you start to see a trend? Then you would change things, maybe start looking at your calories. Okay, so the peanut butter I added to my diet is healthy fats, but 600 calories of healthy fats is a little too much healthy fats, and now I'm just gaining healthy fat. I'm just gaining fat on my body. So when we kind of keep ourselves kosher, when we keep ourselves accountable, when we weigh in, we have kind of data, we're looking at the metrics, we can pick these things up before it becomes like a not so great situation. I've seen people that have graduated our program, HFP, maybe they come back, you know, a long time later, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize like I gained all this weight because I stopped weighing in. But if you notice that we all have a different turnaround point. Let's say you continue, and I think this was actually, I don't know what the study was, but it may have been a survey, but the people that kept weight off the longest, people that were successful in losing, let's say 15, 20 pounds or more, the people that were most successful in keeping that weight off were the ones that just kept weighing themselves in. And this is because we're looking at an outcome being weight. We're looking at the data being our weigh-ins. And when that weigh-in trajectory is not looking good, before it gets to 30 pounds up, we're able to turn things around. Oh, I gained 10 pounds. Maybe I need to dial it back in. Maybe let me do the thing that got me down, that weight loss. So it's just feedback systems. The faster feedback loop we have, the more we're prepared to keep weight off. So sometimes you don't even know if you're seeing progress. So instead of weighing in every 3 months, maybe weigh in every day. No, ideally weigh in every day, but then there's going to be noise, and that's okay. We want to look at the weekly averages, but you don't want to just like, you know, turn your head from the weigh-ins and just like let things go as they go. So that's important. And so we're not also just talking about weight loss. Like, weight loss is cool, but it's not the entire story. And so this is why it's good to have more data than just weight loss. So you don't know if you're progressing. Let's say you haven't taken measurements in years. So maybe you're the same weight. Like, maybe take your waist measurement, your bicep measurements, and see how those change. Because we've seen people in HFP, 16-week program, our intro program, Shout out to Tanner. I believe in the first 16 weeks lost 0 pounds. But Tanner hit our 741 is our weekly standard. He was hitting 741, tracking, hitting his workouts, and being accountable. Hitting his protein, getting those workouts in, all those great things. Lost 0 pounds, but lost 4 inches off his waist in the first phase. So new vascularity he'd never seen before, more muscle that he'd never seen before. And so with all that being said, the scale's a good correlator, but it's not the entire story. So that's why it's good to also have waist measurements, bicep measurements, etc., or even progress photos to kind of see where you're going. I'm not trying to tell everybody that just because you're going into the gym and not seeing progress, that you're not seeing progress. Like, you may be making good progress. You just don't know the data to look at. You may be down 0 pounds on the scale, but your waist may be down 2 inches. You don't know that unless you have the data. And so that's why it's very important to know the progress that you're seeing. So the scale is a good correlator for progress, but it's not the whole story. 2 scenarios. Scenario number 1. Let's say that somebody loses, on this one, they're going to lose 20 pounds. 20 pounds down on the scale. But they lose 5 pounds of muscle on the way. Not strength training, so they're not strength training, not getting in enough protein, and sleep is crap. That's the way that you lose probably 5 pounds of muscle. It's hard to do. Scenario 2, you're only down 10 pounds. Man, this program's not working. What's going on? But in this scenario, let's say you gain 10 pounds of muscle on the way. You're sleeping, hitting PRs, and getting your training in. You're actually down, in this case, 20 pounds of fat. And in the other situation, you're down 15 pounds of fat. Wouldn't you think that you had less progress if you're only 10 pounds down? A lot of people will think that, but unless you get a DEXA scan, in-body scan, something like that, you may not notice this. But this is why it's so important to be in the gym, strength training, and taking other different measurements than just the weight on the scale. So that can be big. Number 4 we're going to move into is in the gym, you're doing whatever you feel like in the gym. You're not doing, there's a reason that a lot of people aren't seeing any progress. They go into the gym, they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to do whatever I feel like it today. I'm going to go hit some bicep curls. Maybe I'll go over there, hit some lateral raises. And my question here with like a lot of people that are just going to the gym and just like do whatever they want. Again, volleyball in the current, just going, Wilson. If anyone understands the reference, drop that down below. Some people weren't born at the time. But to be said with that is it's important to make sure that you have structure in your plan. It's important that you have strategy in your plan, because otherwise, again, volleyball in the current, who is by choice on the day, on a whim, going to go do Bulgarian split squats? Not me. On a whim, you're going to go do some walking lunges, sets of 20 steps. Probably not something I'm going to do. So we don't want to set ourselves up to do what we want on a whim, because when it's on a whim, when we do something on a whim, we're probably going to take the path of least resistance. So on a whim, going to do what's easiest, the least friction. Another example here. Let's say you want to get started with training. So an example here. Let's say you want to get started with training. If you just say, I'm just going to go when I feel like it, so on a whim, I just think in the morning and I'll kind of like figure it out during the day. Do you think you're going to get training sessions there? Because it's not, the path of least resistance isn't just getting up and going sweating and getting a workout in. But if you ask, okay, so what time are you going to go train tomorrow? Okay, where? Okay, so 8 a.m., going to get it done. The decision's already made. When we set ourselves up to make decisions on a whim, we're not going to make the hard decision. We're just going to do the easiest, the path of least resistance. So when you're building those new habits, you got to pre-select your decisions. You got to plan ahead. If you're at Cheesecake Factory and you're trying to lose body fat, you walk by to the dessert counter. That cheesecake looks damn good. It's like 1,500 calories per slice. If you didn't already select your game plan going into that meal, you may have some of that. You may have some appetizers. You may have like a meal, and it's a 3,000 calorie, 4,000 calorie meal. Or you look at the menu ahead of time with your long-term goals in mind. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna get this off the Skinnylicious menu. I'm gonna get that. And actually, you know, if I have cheesecake and that thing off the Skinnylicious menu, I'm only gonna be at, you know, 1,800 calories, and I can make that fit into my maintenance or whatever calories for the day. And so if you plan ahead, you're going to be way more set up for success with your long-term goals. So you're doing whatever you feel like in the gym. So we don't tend to just gravitate to what is going to be difficult and what's going to be best for us. We're going to gravitate to what is easy. So with that one said, what do I do in this situation, Kevin? You're going to plan your workouts. Write them out beforehand. And many people struggle with what's called gym intimidation. You know, intimidated in the gym. Like, I don't want to be in anyone's way. I'm going to just go do some curls, then go on the treadmill, just kind of be out of the way. And I even experienced this when I go in without a plan. I even want to be out of people's way. I'm like, oh, that person looks like they're really getting after it. They have like a game plan for today. Let me just not be in their way. Situations like that do arise. And so you're better off. It's your space. That's where you really want to dial in. So it's your space when you already have a game plan and you just feel like you're on a mission and no one else matters in that case. And finally, on this final point, it's hard to hit PRs if your exercises are always changing. So if you keep changing if you're going into the gym just doing whatever you want, you're not going to make great gains, because if you just keep changing the exercises you're doing, you never build momentum with those exercises and you never actually get stronger. You're just learning new stuff all the time. It's kind of like if you want to get really good at basketball, but then you're playing pickleball the next day, then volleyball, then you go roller derby, then you go, and you never actually get better at the thing. But if you, let's say in this case, you want to get better at basketball and you play basketball every day for 30 days, you can get really darn good. If you squat 3 times per week, I'm not going to say everyone needs to go straight to 3 times a week squatting, but if your life depended on it, you're probably going to be squatting more than once a week or once every month. And that's how you really build up those PRs. You get momentum, you get skill with a movement, and then you're able to actually move more weight and your muscles will get stronger. And a stronger muscle is a bigger muscle, because remember from last time, big, scary muscles move big, scary weight. And that's what we want. Final point, number 5. Cinco. So number 5 is going to be, you don't train hard enough. You're just not training hard enough. And this is it's no fault of anyone's own necessarily, because you don't understand true failure until you actually go there. And oftentimes with a buddy, with a support system, dude, no, you got more on you. That's it. Really? And when you start getting competitive with somebody else, we even see this with some of our clients in HFP. Shout out to Mike. Started training with a gym buddy. He's like, now I get what hard training is like. Now I'm seeing some differences. I'm seeing more muscle growth than ever, because I thought that this was what's difficult when it's actually here. This is what I'm capable of. And there's a quote, I think this is Hormozy who said this, but it's just in general, the quote is, you don't even know what hard is. I'm getting into running a little bit. I think that running 3 miles is really tough right now, just even from the mental aspect. It's actually getting easier, but previous was a 5K. Whoa. But I don't know what hard is yet, because you can pace that a certain way. I don't even know what my best pace is. I don't know, if I plan my pace in a way that I'm dead at the end of the race, I don't think I even know what hard is. I don't know what I'm capable of. And I'm excited for, that journey of really finding out what is true failure, what is tough. Jiu-jitsu puts you in those situations where oh man, there's been some really rough situations, but you're fighting for your life in a way, or it's, and that really can push you past failure. And you really know what you're capable of when you're really against the wall. So that's just something too. You don't know what hard is. And again, no fault of your own, but you got to go there to really understand. And so how do we figure that out? There's 2 things here. I'm going to go with 2 ways. So how do we figure this out? So the first one I want to say is just this is a way that I know that you're not training hard enough. You are not training hard enough I'm gonna go off the whiteboard because this could be a clip. But I know that you are not training hard enough if you think that your rest times in the gym are boring. If you are bored during your rest breaks, you're not training hard enough. And it's like a 2-minute rest break or something. The reason I say this is because you should be yearning for those 2 minutes. That should be like the second longest 2 minutes of your life. And so with that time, like 120 seconds, you should be like catching your breath. You're like, man, I really needed this. Like after a hard set of squats, like you were looking forward to like sitting on like a chair for like 2-3 minutes. But like if you're kind of like, you finish your set, you sit on the chair, and you're like, oh, it's 20 seconds. Like, when can I do my next set? It's like, you did not train hard enough. You did not train hard enough. So get back, do the set, throw in another couple reps. And that's kind of like, that's one indicator that you're probably not training hard enough and you're leaving reps in the tank. Now, the other thing that I want to say as far as, you know, are you training hard enough? Here's a fail-safe for you. Fail-safe. So the other way is just beat the logbook. Just make your mission in the gym, just beat the logbook. Because two things could happen. One, eventually you hit true failure. Eventually, you know, you keep trying to add a rep every week and then 5 pounds every couple weeks. And then eventually you hit failure and you're like, oh, I really can't move this anymore. I'm fighting tooth and nail to move this next rep. I can't do it. So over the weeks, eventually you hit true failure. Or what's going to happen, or you just keep getting stronger and stronger into eternity. Eventually, you're like the same mass of the earth in terms of just like lean muscle tissue. You're the new Mr. Olympia, and you rewrite the history book in terms of like bodybuilding. So either of those two outcomes are going to happen. I think that you'll probably hit that first outcome where eventually you hit true failure. But otherwise, you know, you never know. But in terms of that, very important, just beat the logbook. Just keep beating your previous performance. And that's going to be always, it's also a fail-safe in terms of you progressing, because it's going to have you striving to move more weight, get stronger. And that's where you're really going to get those gains. So let's go quick recap. The top 5 reasons. Let's bring up the whiteboard. So the top 5 reasons, that's 5 reasons you go to the gym every week but are making 0 progress. 1, you're not tracking your workouts. 2, you don't pay any mind to your diet. 3, you don't even know if you're seeing progress. 4, you're doing whatever you feel like in the gym. And 5, you just don't train hard enough. And these are the big pieces. I would even say 5 is applicable to anything. If you're not training hard enough when you have those hard days, again, sometimes I'm just learning about running. So there's typically 4 runs per week. You have a long run, 2 easy runs, but this hard run that you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to go hard, you go hard. You go there. Same thing in the gym. Your sets for hypertrophy, when you're training, they should be difficult. They should really test you, and you really need to push yourself if that's how you're going to, you know, gain more muscle over the long term. So that is our topic on 5 reasons you're in the gym every week and seeing no progress. Thanks for watching on that.